Welcome to this shortwave radio channel. And so, what other updates do we have on the famous Eton satellite HD radio? So, we talked about it in the live show yesterday. I was talking about how unacceptable it is for a radio that has been in, the thinking phase and the development phase for 2 years. About, why is it that it came out with so many flaws. The main question that I want to answer here is the one that I hear regularly: is can they fix the problems? I believe they can, because I believe, from what I hear, most of the problems have to do with firmware. So, like the HD lock, which is the number one thing that's reported everywhere, the HD radio lock, which apparently it locks like crazy. In some of the tests, apparently in 1 hour it locked 3 times. That is firmware fixable. It's probably a bug in the firmware, the way that it actually gets HD radio and it's data. So it's like a computer. It freezes because something's wrong. So I would guess it's firmware, and they're gonna fix it through a update. For the rest, I did see one test of shortwave, and compared to a Texan receiver, the H501, and what came out of some of the tests. But it's difficult to assess, once again, because I rather have tests done myself than see other people's tests, because you never know exactly how they've been tested. Shortwave would technically not be as good as it is supposed to, but then again, we're going to see when the radio is actually, officially released. For the other questions about this radio, how long can it take for this radio to be fixed? Well, several weeks, that's for sure. And depending on the problems, I wouldn't be surprised it could be several months. It's already been postponed so many times. I think it's in the case of a firmware, they have to just have a good programmer and have the firmware rewritten in some parts to make it better. There's a lot of the things that people have reported that I know is false. Pretty much everybody that has reported that the menus were not aligned, from what I've seen on many of the things that I've watched through the internet, doesn't seem to be a problem. I think that is, you got to be careful with what people are saying on this radio, because there's a lot of people bashing the radio just because they want to bash it. There's a lot of people that are bashing the radio because they think $600 is too much and they're never going to afford it, so let's just bash it to make sure it's not sold anywhere. And of the people that actually have one and tested it, then there's the knowledge of testing. How knowledgeable are you while you played with it? Because what are the flaws you're reporting, and how is it a flaw, or maybe just the way that the radio works in some ways. But one thing for sure, this Eton needed to be perfect at $600. There's no excuse for that. This is not something that is cheap. You do not expect to buy a expensive radio and have problems with it. So, if I have any other updates, any other things that I see or hear about that are credible, we're going to check it out. And as for what happens to me, you guys know that I'm keeping the Eton Elite 750. Even though it has its flaws, it's going to be part of my collection. And I'm going to wait for an updated version of this. When Eton actually sends one out that seems to be good, I'll probably be checking out to purchase and have one to test out in the future. So we'll see. Could that happen before Christmas? It's possible. But, once again, it's a very expensive radio. And we have a lot of really nice offerings that are much less expensive and much better, and are really great in performance. Like the Texan H501, 990, 880. They're great radios. And even, if muting is not much of a problem for you, The low end XH data CU on the 808 and the Texan PL330 are amazing receivers, and I don't think you're going to get something on this radio that you're not getting on one of those cheaper radios. I say it again and again, the sensitivity and the performance has been pushed now to a limit where you can't really, the only thing that will bring a signal more is extra features that portables don't have that might help in some difficult situations. So we'll see the future of this radio and what happens, and we'll cross our fingers that they can fix all the stuff that's wrong and make it at least a decent radio. It has to be for $600. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, give us thumbs up. Thank you for